Shabbat Shalom. Some of you know I'm the Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation Bethel in Berkeley, California. And the third rabbi of Congregation Bethel in the late 1950s when I was born was Rabbi Sidney Axelrod. He was a great inspiration to me growing up, and I'm so honored to once again have the opportunity to speak from what I think of as his bima. Have you noticed how many stories of alienation, exile, and brokenness there are in the Torah? The entire known world breaks apart when Adam and Eve are exiled from the garden. Civilization breaks down with the fall of the Tower of Babel. And all of creation breaks, leaving only Noah and his companions in the ark. Abraham finds wholeness in his faith and his connection with God, but he is exiled from his family of origin and then alienated from his children. First Ishmael, and then, of course, Isaac. And Isaac, in turn, is alienated from his own son Jacob, who must pretend to be someone he is not in order to secure his father's blessing. Jacob, in turn, goes into exile out of fear of his brother Esau. And Jacob's children, Joseph and his siblings, become completely separated from one another for years upon years. The book of Exodus begins in Mitzrayim, the bondage place, the narrow place, the very symbol of exile. And it's from this pained, alienated exile of Mitzrayim that the Israelites leave and move towards Sinai, the locus of connection, the promise of wholeness. But the peace doesn't last very long. As Rabbi Nambi mentioned earlier at the beginning of our service, this week's Torah portion, Ki Tisa, is one of the busiest of the year. It begins with the commissioning of Bezalel, the master artisan of the Mishkan, to design and build the sanctuary where the divine presence can dwell amongst the people. Moses ascends Mount Sinai to receive the tablets, but while he's away, the Israelites become impatient and create the golden calf to worship in his absence. Moses descends and shatters the tablets he's just been given. Later, he goes up again to obtain forgiveness and receive a new set. And our portion concludes when he comes down the mountain a second time, his face shining radiantly. Ki Tisa has within it alienation and reconciliation, exile and return, disappointment and forgiveness, brokenness and wholeness. This opposition between brokenness and wholeness is a key motif in our sacred stories and in our Jewish imagination. What is whole? Shalem, complete. Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, or perhaps I should say the idealized Jerusalem, is whole. Ir Shalem, the city of wholeness. Shabbat is whole. Marriage is whole. The Messianic age is whole. The Shlemim, the sacrificial offering, is named whole because it embodies connection and closeness with God, which is the ultimate wholeness and holiness. And where do we encounter brokenness? Our world is broken in so many ways. The secular week as opposed to Shabbat is seen as broken. The matzah is broken. The sound the shofar makes is broken. Death is brokenness. Alienation is brokenness. Exile is brokenness. Separation from God is exile. Now for Moses, going up the mountain is a story about wholeness. He goes up to this sacred encounter and dwells in the presence of the transcendent source. He's so fully absorbed that time is suspended, so present and engaged that he has no need to eat or drink for 40 days and 40 nights. But then things break down, quite literally, when he descends the mountain. He is carrying the Luchot HaEdut, the tablets. I'd say three, but I know it's two. Thank you. The two tablets of the testimony, which rabbinic tradition imagines as made of tachelet, of sapphire stones, heavy and luminous blue. And the tradition teaches that the letters of the commandments, we don't have them here, the letters of the commandments were carved all the way through the stones so that you could be seen from either side. Moses comes down the mountain and sees the people dancing and worshiping the idols they've made, the golden calf. At this sight, the Midrash teaches, the letters were so disappointed that they left the tablets and flew back to heaven. And the spaces that they had taken, or the non-space, the negative space that they had occupied now became solid, filled with rock. You know, we can carry very heavy objects. Our children, our grandchildren, our significant responsibilities, but we don't notice because we're so engaged and fulfilled when we're doing that task. But poor Moses, in this moment, he loses faith in humanity. He despairs of this entire project, and the burden of carrying these tablets that until now was so light in his arms has become nothing but awkward, solid, heavy rocks. Their weight is too much to bear, and he drops them crashing to the ground. Now, our Torah portion hastens to tell us that he gets to go back and get a do-over. And our tradition has a great deal to say about the replacement set of tablets. And perhaps we can talk about those next year when Ki Tisa comes around again. But this evening, I wonder, as did prior generations of our people, what happened to that first set of tablets, or all the fractured pieces? In our Torah portion, the story moves on very quickly. God says to Moses, don't worry about it. Carve two tablets just like the first, and I'll write them on the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. But later, in the book of Deuteronomy, Moses retells the story with some greater detail. This is what he writes. At that time, the Eternal said to me, carve for yourself two tablets of stone like the first, and come up to me on the mountain and make yourself an ark of wood. And I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets which you broke, and you shall put them in the ark. And our rabbis read the verse like this: the first tablets which you broke, you should put them in the ark. A Midrash teaches that it was on Yom Kippur, the day of wholeness and reconciliation, that Moses received the second set of tablets. But the ancient storytellers asked, what about that first set? Where did they go? Rabbi Judah bar Eli taught that two arks journeyed with Israel in the wilderness, one in which the Torah was kept and one in which the tablets broken by Moses were kept. The one in which the Torah was placed was kept in the tent of meeting. The other, containing the broken tablets, would come and go with them wherever they journeyed. The whole complete set stayed in its assigned place to be venerated and honored, but the broken tablets would come and go with the people. From this, we might understand that the broken tablets were somehow more special and more treasured by our people because we took them with us wherever we wandered. We also take the broken parts of ourselves with us wherever we go. Rabbi Harold Schulweis has taught, what shall be done with the broken tablets, with our failures, our stumblings, our errors? Do not discard them, forget them, or deny them. The shattered tablets are real, and within them lies the sanctity of truth. The broken tablets are to be placed in the Ark of Holiness, along with the whole tablets. They belong there too. For transgression and failure teach a sacred lesson. The sparks of sanctity lodge in what had once been profaned. At night, I rehearsed the broken promises, the past filled with remorse and sorrow. I will not deny the brokenness, It reminds me of my imperfection, and from that I learn to hew a second set of commandments. From my discontents with myself, I engender the strength to repair my life. A story is told about the writer Franz Kafka. It was the last time in his life he visited Berlin, and he ran to a girl in a park, awash in tears, and when he asked her, "Why are you crying?" she sobbed that she'd lost her doll. And Kafka gently told her that it was okay, it had not been lost, the doll had only gone on a trip. And he promised her that if she came back to the park the next day, he'd meet her at this very bench and bring her a letter from her doll. And Kafka did this for several weeks, arriving each morning with a letter for his new friend from her doll. As his tuberculosis worsened, Kafka decided to return to Prague, where he would soon die at the age of 41, but not before he bought the girl another doll. And along with this new doll came a letter insisting that it was actually exactly the same doll as the one she had lost. Admittedly, she looked different, but on her journey, the doll had seen many remarkable sights and gone through many experiences. And so life had changed her appearance, and that's why she looked different to her. A transformative experience alters us without and within. It can reshape not only how we feel, but how we appear in the world. And this is what happens in the very closing passages of our parasha this week. The second time Moses ascends Mount Sinai to get the Ten Commandments, after this terrible debacle with the golden calf, the Torah describes the scene with great detail. He was up there with the Eternal for 40 days and 40 nights. He ate no bread and drank no water, and he wrote down on the tablets the terms of the covenant. So Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and as he came down from the mountain bearing the 2 tablets of the pact, Moses was not aware that the skin of his face was radiant, since he had spoken with God. Aaron and all the Israelites saw that the skin of Moses' face was radiant. The intensity of his experience of encounter with the divine set Moses' face aglow permanently. And our rabbis in the Midrash imagine, how did this transformation occur? And they have 2 different ideas. One view suggests that God actually physically touched Moses as he hid in the crevice of the rock when the divine presence passed before him. It was a physical transformation that he experienced about how he presented in the world. And the other imagines that God was talking to Moses atop Mount Sinai. Moses internalized some of the divine sparks of God's voice. Whether it was by physical or spiritual means, the encounter with the divine effected a lasting transformation in the appearance of Moses. Now, to be sure, the external is only a partial reflection of reality that is internal. We decry looksism and constantly say about bodies, "Don't judge." Looks can be deceiving, and we rightly resist judging people by appearance. But we do want to see, don't we? We believe that representations, photographs, portraits, pictures reveal character and truth. Faces can tell stories. As our own bodies age, can we come to greater equanimity about the changes that organically occur, such that when we see our faces in the mirror, we see not just, quite different from years ago, but reflections of divine sparks, acquired wisdom and grace that experience has carved into us. We all carry our broken fragments wherever we go, fragments of life that are heavy, precious, and transformative. And we carry the experiences that shape us, leaving their mark on our hearts, our hands, and even on our faces. Like the Israelites carrying the shattered tablets with them, like Kafka tending to the traveling doll, we hold these pieces with care. The work of a lifetime is not to erase the brokenness, but to build something from it, to construct a mishkan, a sanctuary with our lives, a dwelling place for the divine presence. Shabbat teaches us that true rest is not perfect stillness, but the embrace of our fractures and the gathering of our scattered pieces into wholeness. May we go forth on this Shabbat, carrying our fragments with courage and with love, and may the light they hold shine through us into the world. Ken Yehi Ratzon.